Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day out there today as we go ahead and embark on another full album listen for a Long Song Saturday. And today we are going to be listening to I gotta pull the year up, give me 1 second, I'm scrolling. 1978 album Green by Steve Hillage. Fourth studio album from him. I'm really excited to dive into this one. We had listened to Fish Rising a long time ago, and now it's time to go ahead and dive back into the world of Steve Hillage, and I guess in some capacity, Gong in a way. Anyways, we're listening to this album not only because I wanted to, but because some of you had suggested it, and I'm going to try and read these names as quick as I can because there's a lot of you, but I'm going to try and go quick. Matt Leopard, Steven Sabella, I'm going to mess some of these up because I'm going fast. Amarjit Singh Dule, Dean Carter, MDR, David Imrie, Shafren, Stephen Dennis, Jay Fergs, Pentagrammaton, Michael Capewell, I see repeats, James Paiva, MV Johnson, Up Tilting Aberja, Matt Leopard again, Robert Bagley, Shamanic, Phil Dorstrange, Floating Anarchy, Chris Hall, AK, Cosmic Cat, Cloud WP, Tony Grinney, Black Cat Central Music, Fire Monkey, Tony Grinney, Greg A, Aaron House. This list goes on, guys. I'm sorry, Gerald, Steve Miller, Sam Marsh, and Vernon Allen. There were a few more. All of you, thank you so much for the suggestion. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm not going to take too much of your time today. We're just going to kind of dive straight on into it. If it's your first time here, I mention this most of the time, but especially for album listens, we're going to be here for a little bit. Sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a drink. I have made some hot chocolate here because it's cold today. Made some hot chocolate. I even had some gifted freeze-dried marshmallows to put in. The last one, which I'm going to toss in there, as you can see. Even though we're past the holidays, holiday appropriate in a sense. And of course, press the like button. Get it out the way. It helps me out a great deal. And of course, if you want, you can support the Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You don't have to. Or you can, even for 1 month. Helps me. Goes a long way. Otherwise, sit back, relax. We're going to pull up the album here on my end. Starting off with the first track, Sea Nature. And as always, my friends, hold on. Let's do it together. Let's take this freeze-dried Christmas tree here. It's a pretty good size. You can tell by my head. Let's go ahead and dump it in. I'm assuming that it gets smaller as it goes. Anyways, as always, my friends, this first sip, as I dump this in here, it's kind of dissolving actually in the hot chocolate. All right, it's totally dissolved. Actually, it just came apart. Wow, that didn't last at all. This first sip, my friends, is to you. Sea Nature. Got right on there, huh? Got right in there. So spacey and that wavering. Spacey and psychedelic. It started off really going.
Singing. The trees keep growing and the seeds are sowing beneath the ether. It's time for my soul to go swimming inside nature.
I love how this emptied out into something so melodic and quiet.
Hopping out at the bottom of the sea in minutes that seem like hours. I want you to come with me.
inviting us as the audience.
Journeying with your mind. So let's dive below the waves of words and sink beneath the turbulence and leave the restless images behind us and touch the secret power of nature under the sea.
Come on. We've started off on a great foot with this album. Drumming. And release, open it up. The drumming is amazing. Listen to it. It's those quick open highs. Deep note. That's cool. Some vocoder? A little downturn in the chord. I'm just gonna let it go because it was just fading into the next track. Let's just let it go. But that was an incredible opening. Like, that was a perfect opening, to be honest. This almost sounds kind of Tangerine Dream-esque, like the way that this sequencer is moving in. like how Hillage is soloing over this Tangerine Dream-esque like sound. It sounds really, really good. I really like how this track has taken on a more electronic feel compared to the first. You're getting already in the first two a lot of diversity in sound. And it flows wonderfully. Sometimes because of the way the sequencer is bouncing off each other, it feels like it's speeding up. But it's not. What a moment. Fades in, fades out. Bass is slapping. Well, I'm going to go as far as to say that these first two tracks were perfect. No hyperbole, no exaggeration. I don't even have a ton to like say about it. I just thought that it was perfect. Like, I love Gong, and already this album, it's only two tracks. I don't want to say already it's better than Fish Rising, because that's a good album too. But these two tracks have just got me already. From the opening with this psychedelic space rock kind of sound to moving into Ether ships with, to me, a Tangerine Dream sequencer kind of sound, and then with Hillage coming on top of that, soloing his heart out, and then the music slowly fades in from the drums and the bass, and it's a relatively quick fade in. It comes from the distance that's building into the atmosphere, but I love how it comes in. It plays a very specific groove. It plays with a lot of energy, and then it's gone. But it came for such a perfect amount of time and at the perfect time, because I wasn't getting bored at all just listening to Hillage soloing over the sequencer, because I just found that sound so pleasurable. But it was so welcome when the rest of the band came in, played a little bit, and then faded right back out. And I just want to say that the drumming is absolutely wonderful to listen to. Drums seems to be played here by Joe Blocker, and then you're also going to have Nick Mason, of course, from Pink Floyd later on another track. The drums from Blocker, who I've never heard of, and his name isn't like there's not like a link to his name. I think his drumming was so fantastic. I mean, I've never heard of him. I'm curious as like who else he's played with, because I thought his drumming was sensational. The amount of fills and details that he brings into the music, never letting things grow stagnant or never just relegating himself to being in the pocket, even though of course that has its place. But he always brought an excitement to the music. There was always this factor of wow, like at every twist and turn as the music was playing, which I just find really, really thrilling and engaging to listen to. The bass, Curtis Robertson Jr., was so wonderful, especially in Etherships. When they came in, he's like going off. when the bass comes in Etherships, or Etherships, I'm probably saying that wrong the whole time. Like it just comes in with so much groove and so much funk. It kind of changes the music that was being played before, from that sequencer-esque guitar solo into I would be going too far if I said jazz fusion, because that's not what this is, but a fusion-esque kind of psychedelic sound that he kind of hopped in on. There's a little hint of blues in the first track as well that they just play around with. Like, I really think that these two tracks are just perfect together, and truthfully perfect on their own as well. That was a wonderful start to the album. The first track was had lyrics, but the next track didn't. So we're just going to look at the lyrics for Sea Nature. I'm walking on the land, but my mind is under the sea. The fish in the sky just swim on by, and the birds in my brain keep on singing. The trees keep growing, and the seeds are sowing beneath the ether. It's time for my soul to go. Swimming inside nature, diving through the flowers, popping out at the bottom of the sea in minutes that seem like hours. I want you to come with me, journeying with your mind. So right there, that line, he establishes how he feels mentally and at this particular moment with his music and such. I read this as very autobiographical. And this is Hillage saying to us, the audience and the listener, come on, I want you to take this journey with me. Which we had gotten a similar thing with Gong and the Flying Teapot, hopping in and joining these pothead pixies, So I really like how they invite you into their world. We'll learn to feel the divas and feed them with our vibes. Hear the music of the spheres through the ears of the cauliflowers and the living grass that breathes. So let's dive beneath the waves of words and sink beneath the turbulence and leave the restless images behind us and touch the secret power of nature under the sea. And here's where the vocoder comes in. Way down below the ocean, we'll be writing our emotion. So I like how this is kind of sailors at the dock and at the seashore before the voyage begins, telling us, hey, we want you to come aboard, come along out the boat, come on up and dance now, before you take a fantastic voyage, like before you hop on. And then now, once you move into the next song, which is Etherships, you're on that ship. You are now engaged and a part of that voyage and that journey. And of course, we can only see where it goes from there. Really, really great first two tracks. Let's go ahead and move into the next one, which, by the way, before we dive into it, just want to say, this hot chocolate's pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't really drink hot chocolate, but this is pretty good. All right, Music of the Trees. Here we go. It's a loud swallow. Little ARP sound. great intro to this. Love that little swing he puts in there. This is a sail down the lazy river. Kind of slant like jam, movement, just flows. Picking here.
I talk to the trees. They show me the things to play. I talk to the trees. They show me the way. Their auras are so strong.
Interesting break. I like how the bass is adding its calm sounds to this. It came to this tumultuous head and then just blisses back out. Okay, before it moves on to the next track, which, by the way, this next two tracks, Music of the Trees that we just listened to, and the next one, Palm Trees, Love Guitar, I like how they both have tree, in their title, so it's kind of establishing a different nature, whereas the first two tracks had to do with the sea nature, and ether ships. That's kind of cool. Palm Trees begins so wonderful, like with this kind of solitude and in the woods kind of feel, with the, very, very slow build of the guitar picking and the synth that's running through that, kind of sounding like a flute or something of that nature, but of course synth. And I like how that felt to me like wind blowing through the trees as you're in the middle of the forest or woods. You're looking up at the tall trees and the canopy and little peaks of sunlight coming through, and then the wind would kind of, blow through the trees. That's the imagery that I got in the beginning. And then it quickly moves off of that into a very, very methodical and slow jam that just kind of like lulls you into this certain sway. So far on the album, this is a very, a very free-flowing kind of album. It just feels like the music is just coming out so perfectly and everything's connecting it in this very beautiful way. It just has a certain atmosphere to it, which, yes, you get a lot of that, of course, in Gong. And whenever we listen to music by a solo member of a band that we have heard before, I like to see what that solo member does on their own, outside of the band, outside of the mind of, 3, 4, 5 people. And I think it's cool to hear Hillage here, where, of course, you hear a lot of the ambience, the atmosphere, the subtleties here. And at least in this track, you get a little bit of, I wouldn't say full comedic element, but you do have the moment where the music, takes this dramatic turn and it kind of pulls up into this big kind of explosion before it tapers back off into those kind of sequencer-esque sounds. So it's cool to hear what Steve is doing here on his own at this particular point, as opposed to with Gong. And I think that this track has a really nice structure to it. And that point where it just stops and then builds up from there is really, really nice. Looking at the lyrics on this one. You talk to the trees that move in the breeze. Okay, King Crimson. Well, they were talking to the wind. We're talking to trees now. So open a gateway to the inner worlds, the fountains of green. Read our feelings and link us back to the earth and sky, if we allow them. I talk to the trees, they show me the things to play. I talk to the trees, they show me the way. Their auras are strong. So, whereas, like I said, the first two tracks were almost odes to the sea and sea-based, this is more tree and green-based, kind of like the name of the album. Let's go ahead and he's revealing things, or he's finding things revealed about himself through this particular aspect of nature and reflecting on the trees. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track here, continuing our tree theme and ending the first side of the album. And that is going to be Palm Trees, Love Guitar. Let me just get some music really quick. Get to the first, or the last 10 seconds, and we'll let it play from there. Also, I forgot to mention, but the beginning of Music of the Trees that we just heard also reminded me of Cloudburst Flight from Tangerine Dream, just to bring them back into the fold. All right, here we go. Almost a soul-esque riff, depending on where it goes. Very soul-esque, actually. This could easily be like an Isley Brothers track. Right? Wow.
I really know how to say the feelings that I have for you and the love I wanna share. A love that shelters like an oasis in the sand from the burning rays of the bright light of truth, so we can sit together in peace beneath the palm trees and watch the new age grow. There's changing seasons, come and go.
This is the synth and guitar combo as they raise each other.
Let's pretend
soul out in this one, that is for sure. That little echo behind him, doubling up, is so nice. Brings size to this. Well, I'll say it if you don't say it. This first side of the album, perfect. 5 out of 5. I think it's a great journey, a great halfway point that we've just taken on this journey. I love how once again we have a beautiful long solo from Hillage to end this side of the album. It provides a really nice resting point, a really nice sense of closure. If this was an EP and this was it, I'd be completely satisfied, just as I'm completely satisfied right now. But I really enjoy the journey that this track takes us on. The blending of synth and his guitar and him using, I see guitar synth as well. It just sounds so wonderful. And during that solo, the way that it's like doubled on itself, it just adds this weight and size to a solo that was already mesmerizing. So when it's doubled up upon itself, whether it's just an overdub extra guitar or overdub synth or synth guitar, it's really nice that it adds that extra color to this particular track. I think that that's wonderful. Once again, the soulful nature of this track I think is so cool. And a lot of Canterbury bands and music that I've listened to on the channel, to me, has a lot of flavors and elements of R&B and soul music, just in a different way. This track is, like, to me, exactly that. This could easily be an Isley Brothers track with the guitar and the way that the melodies of the guitar and the rhythm is, the drum, the way it's called Love Guitar. This is definitely a song made with a lot of love and a lot of guitar. To me, it oozes that sensuality, and I really, really enjoyed the approach to that in this particular track. You're getting a lot of different shades throughout this first side of the album, from cosmic psychedelia to soul to the Tangerine Dream-esque electronica, but it's all flowing together so well. It all feels like one part, and just 4 pieces in a complete journey. Is this the only way? I really know how to say the feelings that I have for you and the love I want to share, a love that shelters lie an oasis in the sand from the burning rays of that bright light of truth, so we can sit together in peace beneath the palm trees and watch the new age grow. These changing seasons come and go in love's protection. So I get a lot of course, love of nature and reflecting on nature to apply it to yourself. And just like he says, is this the only way? I really know how to say, I love you. Is this the only way? And I like how the song is entitled Palm Trees. So something that has, especially in Florida, something that just kind of shoots straight up into the air and it blossoms at the top. Kind of like a bushy firework in a way. So his love is in the same way. Like this thing that's just shooting straight up and it's climaxing like at the top. He says, in peace beneath the palm trees, watching the new age grow. Just sitting beneath the trees and watching time move on, but doing so together. Beautiful, beautiful track, and a great way to end this side of the album. But we're not done yet. We're moving on to side 2. And before we do, I always like to find out who's still watching at this particular point, which it hasn't been that long. It's been 37 minutes. It's not even that long. But before you comment with whatever comments you were going to comment before in the comments, please comment with the answer to what I'm about to ask you. And the name of the album is Green. How many objects or things do you see in the screen right now that are green? There's some greenery around here. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on into the second side of the album, moving on to the first track, which is Unidentified Flying Being. Here we go. Squonky. Okay. Is funking it up here. The quick fingers.
Stand at the doorways to the higher worlds, but they won't open till we open ourselves.
Good line. That's a good lyric.
And strip away our thinking minds to unlock the love that's deep inside. And destroy all these clumsy words to feel the energy they hide. 'Cause we don't need names for what we are. I am, you are, and we remain.
There's your gongisms.
Don't put no labels on me. Unidentified. Don't try to block my energy. Unidentified. May I remain a mystery. Unidentified. So my spirit can be free. Unidentified. Like the sources in the sky. Unidentified. And I wanna be a
I like that. An organizer. That bass can walk you down anything.
unidentified.
it all out. Keep that groove going. It's gonna fade into the next track. I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go. The drum beat, though. That bass walked right back in the door. Forgot its coat. Kind of mirrors the first two tracks actually on the album too. Right back to the Tangerine Dream. Now there's your UFO. That's a high note. I should stop it there, right? It's still going. It's going to the next track, isn't it? I mean, how could I stop it? How can I stop it? Okay, just want to say, Unidentified felt to me like a Parliament track, like Mothership Connection. And the bass from Curtis is ripping. What a journey this is. Love that echo on the snare with this synth going. Also, you're gonna have Nick Mason on the drums on this track. ism if I've ever heard one. This came back, just in a different way. That's cool. It's gonna keep going, isn't it? I gotta stop it somewhere. I have to. Jeez, what an entrance. Okay, I'll go back and catch the transition again before we move on. But I have to stop it there, else I'm gonna forget all the things that I want to say, because I don't want to talk over the music too much. Okay, once again, awesome trio of songs with great connection. And, I mean, it's gonna be 4 songs with the way it's all moving together. And that's what I meant with the first half of this album, how everything moves so well connected and so structurally sound as it moves from track to track to track, changing atmospheres. In this side, we kind of get a similar change and progression as we had before, with, for example, Unidentified being this hard hitter. I mean, was it Curtis on the bass? Curtis, yeah, on the bass. The bass line is just like full frontal effect, just all up in your face, just like putting down this incredible funk. And maybe it's because of the UFO, isms that are being mentioned as well. But I couldn't help but think of Parliament and Mothership Connection, and even like the slight silliness to it. But the groove, of course, as a matter of fact, all up front. Speaking of groove, once again, Joe Blocker on the drums. His groove is just put down with such, just heavy foot and groove. I don't know. It just feels really good. And then as it moves on to the next track, UFO Over Paris, that's kind of the transitional track where the drum groove keeps on going, and it builds and changes from I'm going to say this prog funky kind of thing into something a little bit more electronic, like we had in the first half. And then once you get into Ley Lines to Glaston, which features Nick Mason from Pink Floyd on the drums doing, that's when it almost goes full sequencer, full electronic. Of course, you still have the warmth of the bass and different things like that, different elements. But I like how these 3 songs tell a story as they move around. I love what not Mason, Blocker does when that intensity grows from the drums, where it's just put down, and the way that he's drumming around, it feels so heavy in that moment, and it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier until that's why I said it fades out, and then the ambience of the space comes in. I just think that was really wonderful, and we're already getting this really cool journey on this part of the album. Let's look at the lyrics, at least for Unidentified. We stand at the doorways to the higher worlds, but they won't open till we open ourselves. I think that's a wonderful line. And that's definitely something very reminiscent of Gong and the way that they speak and write. And in a sense, that could also relate to the very beginning of this album, where we are embarking on this musical journey, And now at the halfway point, we're saying, you know, we're standing at the doorways to go even further than we are right now, but we can't go further until we open ourselves and strip away our thinking minds to unlock the love that's deep inside and destroy all these clumsy words to feel the energy they hide. What I love is that they say destroy all these clumsy words and the next two tracks are instrumental. So, you know, because we don't need names for what we are. I am, you are, and we remain. Unidentified, don't put no labels on me. Unidentified, don't try to block my energy. Unidentified, may I remain a mystery. Unidentified, so my spirit can be set free like saucers in the sky. Don't need no identification for where we're going. And then I love the lines, I want to be an Om organizer. Like Om, of course, the mantra. I don't exactly know what it means, but it's a meditative mantra, kind of for self-reflection, I'm sure, and meditation. So he wants to organize his mind. He wants to organize himself inside, inner peace and spiritually, which I think is really great. So like I said, this album is so cool the way that it forms these connections. We take part in this journey with it, and you're just along for the ride. I mean, truly. And in some ways, literally and lyrically, we are just along for the ride on this one. Let's go to move on into that next track here, which is going to be Crystal City. Let me just back it up just to the last few moments of ley lines. We'll let it lead in, because it was clearly just going. But like I said, I gotta stop it somewhere so I can actually talk. Here we go. It's gonna come in. Build up of the guitar and keys, or whatever it is. Great fill into this drop. And one of those cymbals sounds like a trash cymbal. Listen. Oh, you didn't hear it this time. That one, right there. Hillage is getting some solo time in this album. We're all the better for it.
Forgotten and new age feeling. You're now the silent words of light breathing through your inner frame, linking up to Crystal City.
Really quick rolls on the kicks.
Generator of the spark that nature feeds upon.
Hear that?
Passing through our eyes, touch the secret lines above and run across the land and sea, waiting for our hearts to build the new.
Feels like that epic culmination of the previous tracks. I love that sequencer that started a little bit ago, so that it can kind of keep this through line as it continues. It's probably going to continue, isn't it? You know what? Let's just let the rest of this go. With Crystal City, I really like how it built up and, like I said, felt like the conclusion of the previous three tracks. A little more levity. We'll let this lead into the last track, which is the glorious Om riff. That's cool. I love that. Cool. It got so heavy. This is awesome. It sounds so familiar, like... so good. This is metal. This is prog metal. Are you kidding? sax now? That sounds like gong. That sounds like gong right there. How do you not headbang to this? It's like they have more and more. On that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Steve Hillage, Green. Excellent album. That was a great listen from the beginning to the end. Crystal City, I had talked about it super quick, but it was moving on and I didn't want to stop it. Like I said, it felt like this really great rocking culmination, rather, of the previous few tracks and what it was all building into and leading into. I enjoyed the vocals. I enjoyed how, to me, it just felt very chaotic, but controlled and restrained in many ways. I enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest. Crystal City was immediately overshadowed by Activation Meditation, which was just really a 1 minute, kind of bridge into the final track, which is completely aptly named The Glorious Riff. That is a perfect conclusion to this album. In many ways, to me, erring on a prog metal kind of sound, it is the heaviest track on this album, and in every single respect. The drumming, I love when the double bass is brought in here, like just those quick machine gun burst rounds, really adds a lot of heaviness to it. The way that the riff would change, gung 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 gung, and then gung 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 gung, like the back and forth, that dynamic just from the rhythm part of it all was just absolutely wonderful to listen to. And you want to talk about head banging? This is gong banging. If you never glid before, you glidden now. That was just really wonderful. And you still have moments, especially like in the previous track and how it kind of leads into this one of the synth, and it's still building those spacey kind of elements, but this one just kind of gets down and dirty right to it. And even though there is a moment of levity and brevity about halfway or so through this track, it very quickly returns to where it had left off, and it's just thrashing you around. This was so fun. Such a heavy song to listen to. I love, really everything about it. I really got to say, though, Joe Blocker on the drums has impressed me incredibly. Not only on this album, but this song. Curtis on the bass, really enjoyed them. I didn't even mention Maquette Garaudy, who we've heard because she's been featured on some of the albums. She's played with Gong, and she's like the... I can't remember what character she played in one of the albums. Is it Flying Teapot? I don't remember which one. But she plays one of like I think was it a witch or a sorceress or something? Anyways, you can definitely tell her voice, and she's playing some of the synths here as well. I really enjoyed that, but glorious ohm riff, wow. That was definitely it. Now, just because we should look at the lyrics for Crystal City. Oh, I see that smile upon your face again. Maybe you've forgotten that new age feeling. But now the silent words of light are breathing through your inner frame, linking up to Crystal City. Search for generator of the spark that nature feeds upon, passing through our eyes to touch the secret lines of dawn that run across the land and sea, waiting for our hearts to build the new future in earth and sky. So we had previously gotten lyrics about, of course, earth with the trees, sky, I don't know, more the sea, and then love, of course, in the previous track. So this is like all of that coming together in this Crystal City, whatever that may be representative of. So anyways, really, really fantastic album. Let's see. There's a decent amount of information for this one, actually. Let's see. Written in spring 1977 at the same time as his previous album. This was originally going to be released as The Green Album, as a companion to the Red Album. However, the plan was dropped, and after a US tour in late 77, Green was recorded alone in Surrey. It's produced by, of course, Nick Mason. It features science fiction themes and explores electronic music. The album was released in 78, peaking at number 30 on the UK albums chart, and was a critical success. I would say so. It says, Hillage and Garaudy wrote enough material for 2 albums during an intense period in spring of 77. Hillage recalled, when we were coming back from our first American tour, we were on a creative high and a lot of music came out. The original idea was to release the material on 2 separate albums. However, the plan was abandoned, and instead the Red Album was reworked to become Motivation Radio. And true to Hillage's wishes, the album was funkier in nature, although still undeniably Hillage. And of course, that's not the album we listened to. We listened to Green. Here we go. All right, so Mason decided to spend his time producing another artist's album. Mason was introduced to the sessions in a similar style to how Rundgren was introduced to L from Simon Draper. The two had previously worked together on Shamal, the 7th album by Hillage's band Gong. And after a break from Christmas, sessions commenced at Hillage's Matrix Studios, where further overdubs were recorded before they went to Pink Floyd's studio in London. He recalled, our schedule at the time could be described as full-on. Our work pace was frantic and it was an exhilarating roller coaster ride, which I'm happy to have experienced, although it wasn't sustainable. It's like a quick flash in the pan, but over a long period of time, Green was the result of 3 months in the studio. Joe and Curtis took part in the initial sessions, and I took the basic backing tracks away to work out overdubs in my little home studio. And then we went back to finish everything else. Really, really fantastic album. And like I said, just a fantastic listen and a journey. This album, just dropped my phone. This album, definitely a journey from A to Gone. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. I hope that you enjoyed chilling with me and relaxing, listening to music. Hope that you were relaxed. Maybe not the last one. The last one, kicking. But maybe some of the previous ones you were relaxed. Anyways, if you didn't before, you could, of course, press the like button. It helps out a great deal. Share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can also support the channel and what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You don't have to do that. but it's an option. Otherwise, that is the video, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here and clicking again, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.